Hi everyone, welcome back to my lab and today's video, which is going to be a try-on haul of Thrive Causemetics. Thrive Causemetics is a brand that I heard a lot on YouTube starting last year, and it showed up in a lot of people's favorites, and so I was very curious and wanted to try it for myself. I did place an order on Thrive Causemetics, and I'm ready to try on the products and let you know what I think. So let's go ahead and get started. I bought my items in 2 sets because the sets were a little bit less expensive and they included a lot of the products that I wanted to try. So one was a set of 4 items, I think it was 4 items, and it included the Buildable Blur CC Cream. I grabbed the shade Beige. This is matching strictly online, so hopefully I got a good color. It did also include the sponge, which arrives in this little foil package with a Ziploc bag, and it has the shape of a beauty blender, except it has a flat edge on the side, but not exactly like the Real Technique sponge because it does come to a point. That specific set also came with this powder brush. This is the all-over powder brush, and this is how it comes packaged. On first impression, the brush reminds me a lot of the Marc Jacobs bronzer brush. It has that firm shape, but the bristles themselves are pretty soft. It has a nice saying on the handle. It says, "May today be as flawless as your makeup." That's cute. And the 4th item was this setting powder. This is the Filtered Effects Soft Focus HD setting powder, and I just picked up the shade Translucent. The second set I purchased was a combination of a blush and bronzer. The blush I picked up was the shade Rosy, which is a copper rose shimmer. I've seen Emily Noel love these so much. And then the other one is the Blur Effect Technology. No. It's the Blur and Sculpt Bronzing Powder, and this one is in the shade Rea. I've seen Ali Glines and Kathleen Lights really rave about this specific bronzer. I do have one additional product from the line, and that is this product. It is the Brilliant Eye Brightener. It's a highlighting stick, and I didn't actually purchase this in this haul. I received this in my FabFitFun, which I do pay for my FabFitFun, so essentially I did buy this. So I'm gonna add this to this little try-on. And every time you place an order, they also tell you that you receive a $20 value of a makeup bag. This is not a $20 value, it's just a pouch. It's handy, it's cute, I would definitely get some use out of it, but it's not $20. Maybe the $20 value one is something else? I'm not sure. In any case, let's go ahead and start with the foundation. This does have SPF. It is a CC cream, and it's supposed to be multitasking, color correcting, blurring, and diffusing of imperfections with buildable sheer to full coverage, and the SPF level is 35. You're supposed to use 1 pump for sheer coverage, 2 pumps to 3 pumps for full coverage. On the packaging, it does say apply a thin layer with fingertips all over the face. Use a wet sponge to tap into skin and blend. So we do have a very nice pump. So I went with 2 pumps. That first pump is always questionable, and it is a pretty thick consistency. It also looks a little bit dark, so we'll see how it works for me. This is definitely going to be a lot darker than I anticipated, but that's the trouble when you can only shop for things online, and I was really trying to compare myself to the ladies in the product photos, but I don't think I did very well. Hopefully, since this is sheer, it will blend in with my skin tone. Alright, so I'm gonna start to blend it in with the bottom of the sponge, and this is entirely too orange for me. Oh, that's so disappointing. It is blending out nicely. I'm hoping maybe the translucent powder will help me lighten it up a bit. The coverage is nice. It does lay nicely on my skin as well, but man, on camera it looks a lot better than in person. In person, I look really orange. Oh my gosh. It does blend really easily with the sponge. I do have to give it that, and it does make a nice layer on my skin. Well, I haven't commented on the sponge. It's very soft, and I do like that it has that point. I can tell I'm gonna really enjoy that when I apply concealer. I'm going to apply concealer in a highlighting fashion to offset the color. So in terms of the coverage of the foundation, it's really nice. It's a very nice foundation. I would call it a natural finish. It really sinks into the skin, and I wasn't wearing any primer other than the Tatcha Silk Canvas primer. I applied just a little bit of that. I didn't want to apply any luminous primers or anything like that to not really give the foundation any help. It's a real shame that I'm not liking the color because the formula I'm actually really liking. So from looking what I have left over, I probably used about 1.5 pumps. For my concealer, I don't have anything from Thrive. I'm not sure if they make concealers, but I'm still trying this Giorgio Armani. And one of you gave me a tip that, you know, less is more with this concealer, and I definitely agree. And if I set it, it has a tendency to get really cakey. But I'm gonna apply my concealer and I will be right back. As I'm applying my concealer, I'm definitely noticing that I can get into those inner corners really, really well. This is something that I cannot do with any other beauty sponge that I have tried. Just the fact that it comes to that point and it's flat, it really helps me get into that inner corner. I even had a brush handy because I thought I was definitely gonna have to use a brush to apply my concealer, but right now I'm pretty happy with the way this looks just with the sponge. Concealer layered really well on top of the foundation. I keep calling it a foundation, but it's a CC cream. It layered really well on the top of the CC cream, and I don't know if you can tell, but since my shade was so off, I did apply it in the highlighting points on my face. So I did put some on my forehead, my chin, and I brought it down a little bit on my under eyes. Let's go ahead and get into the powder. So the powder comes in this box. It is called the Filtered Effects Setting Powder, and it comes in this little pot. As I mentioned, I have the shade Translucent, and it does have a sifter or a cap. Oh, I see. Okay, so the cap opens up and then you have a mesh separator where the powder gathers on the mesh. So on the box it says dip brush into mesh, then tap off excess powder in the separator. And then it says to set foundation, tap powder onto face, then buff with powder in circular motions. So I'm definitely going to do that, but before I do, I'm going to set my under eyes a little bit. So I'm going to make sure I don't have any creasing, and I'm taking my Goss airbrush and I'm dipping into the powder, and I'm just going to lightly set my under eye. I mentioned that this concealer is giving me trouble when I set it a little bit too much, so I'm just gonna apply a teeny tiny bit. That's it. I'm gonna leave it at that, and then I'm gonna repeat it on the other side. Sorry, I don't mean to focus too much on this concealer. It's just I've been really trying to get it to work for me. It's been getting such good reviews, and I can get it to work, but it's definitely not a favorite. Alright, so I'm dipping into the mesh with the large powder brush. You can see how much it brings up in terms of the powder. Instead of using it on the separator, I'm just going to rub it around on the lid, and I have seriously just put powder everywhere. There was so much powder on my brush. And then it said buffing motions. To be honest, I don't think I needed much setting. My face feels pretty dry. Not dry in a bad way, it just feels set, like the foundation isn't sticky. I do like that it has that separator because I think that when you're traveling with it or storing your powder, it's gonna keep it from making a mess, which is nice. It's definitely translucent because I was really hoping it was gonna lighten my foundation, and it certainly is not. So I'm just going to finish powdering up and then we'll move on to the other products. Now that I've applied the powder, the CC cream is taking on more of a feel of a skin tint. It looks like the color is actually my skin. It looks very skin-like, I have to say. So let's move on to the bronzer. Here's what your compact looks like. It's really pretty. And here's the bronzer. They did have one other shade, but the other shade was not matte. I would like to use the brush again a little bit, but I know that this is going to be really big for my cheek area. Let's see. And I'm going to dip into the powder. It's a little bit powdery, so it definitely picks up product, and I think it's gonna be darker than I thought. So let me start up here lightly. It's a very nice neutral kind of bronze, so it's probably better applied with a larger brush actually. A lot of people have given this brush like really rave reviews, and it's nice, but right now I don't think it's anything that unique. As I said, it immediately reminded me of that Marc Jacobs brush. And interestingly enough, people give that one a bad review. They say it's like a little too stiff or something. I don't know. It's definitely a matte bronzer and kind of gives me the vibes of like an actual natural tan. It just looks like my skin is that color, which is nice if you like a very natural look. I do have a tendency to enjoy luminous bronzers, but this is actually really nice as well. It looks really natural. I'm excited to go into the blush. For this, I'm definitely going to use a different brush. I'm going to use a Sonia G Cheek Pro brush, and this is the shade Rosy. The compact looks just like the bronzer, and if you look inside, it has one of those multi-dimensional powders. It's got a little bit of pink, a little bit of copper, and it looks like it might have like some highlighting powder sort of webbed throughout there. So it's a really nice color. Again, it picks up really easily on the brush. I can see why it's a luminous blush. It has sort of that hourglass ambient lighting powder kind of feel to it, where as you apply it, it does have a sheen as well as color deposit. So it looks like I've actually applied highlight, but obviously I haven't. See, there's that side. You can see the difference. That's really pretty actually, very different. You may be able to achieve this look if you put highlight over a blush, I'm not sure, but it looks really pretty. I do feel that it emphasizes texture a little bit because it does have highlighter in there. I feel it definitely has highlighter mixed in. I mean, you can see how the camera is catching it. I haven't applied any highlighter. I haven't put on any setting spray. I don't think I even need highlighter. It is pretty, but I do think that it emphasizes texture. Once I put on the setting spray, it'll probably diminish that look, but just something to be aware of. I'm actually waiting for UPS to deliver my package from Pat McGrath because I bought some of her eye doll single shadows, and that's why I don't have anything on my eyes. So I do want to try this highlighting stick, but I'm going to apply it to my Cupid's bow and maybe my brow arch, but I definitely want to reserve my eyes for trying out the Pat McGrath. So it just looks like a highlighting pen or like an eyeshadow stick maybe, and it's just twist up. So let's see. I think I had seen in some of those FabFitFun reviews that this was an oily product, but I'm not getting that vibe at all. Actually, it's staying pretty much put where I placed it, and I'm feeling that I should have tried to blend it out before I went all over my face. But it is a very pretty champagne shade, and I like it for highlighting the Cupid's bow because it's a pencil type product, so you can put it precisely where you want it. Let's just put a little bit of dewy setting spray. I'm still shocked that I'm not wearing any highlight and my cheeks are looking like this. It's really something. Well, this is everything for the try-on part of the Thrive Causemetics video. I'm gonna go stalk the UPS guy and I'll come back to give you my thoughts on the products and everything else after I have my eye makeup applied. So I'll see you in just a little bit for you and probably a couple hours for me. So I have now applied my eye makeup and a lip product as well. Today's lip product is L'Oreal Lip Dew. It's one of the Havana Camila Cabello collaborations, and this one is in the shade Desnudo. The eye look was completed with the Pinky Rose 80s Baby palette. I thought I was getting my Pat McGrath package today. Wishful thinking, it's coming tomorrow, so definitely stay tuned, and once I get those Pat McGrath eye dolls, I will definitely make a video and let you know what I think about them. If the video's already up, I will link it up in the card so you can check it out. I don't know what I was thinking. I was so excited too, but either way, I do like the way that my makeup look turned out today. If you're interested in seeing the Pinky Rose review, then I will have that up in the cards as well. I have been wearing the products on for a while now. I had dinner. I've been basically going about my day after applying my makeup, and I filmed another video, and looking at my makeup application, it still looks really, really good. I'm really happy with it. I know that you're sick of hearing about the shade of the foundation. So let's just go through the items one by one. Starting with a sponge, this is a really nice sponge. It's really squishy, but I just really love how it comes to that point. It's amazing what a difference it makes to have been missing that piece. And if you enjoy to bake with a sponge, it has a really nice surface to get right underneath your eyes. I do recommend this one. With the foundation, be careful with the shade ranges. If I were going to make a guess, I would definitely guess on the lighter side rather than the darker side for your shade. And I do feel that they pull a little bit darker than you would expect because I picked up the shade beige, and I would have described this shade as a medium tan. I think I will definitely be able to work with it. I will definitely be able to use it in the summer as well, so I'm looking forward to that. It gives a really nice finish. I can definitely see what the hype is all about. It blended in really nicely with the sponge. I didn't need a lot, and it really melded into my skin that it looked like my skin was just that color, but it creates that uniform tone in the skin. It just gives you a really nice natural finish. I really liked it. It really applied so easily. The finish was really nice. I don't think that it's necessary to set it if you're not someone that enjoys setting your makeup. I have dry skin and I don't always set my foundation. I didn't feel that I had to, but today I did for two reasons. One, to try to lighten the foundation, and two, just to test out the powder, which I also purchased. I have to say it really looks nice. It perfects your skin. It looks really good on. I could see what the fuss is about with this one. Now obviously Obviously, I'll have prices of all the individual items on the screen. Probably as I was applying them, I'll put them in. But I bought this in a set with the exception of the highlighting pen, and it was $175, which, wow, that's kind of expensive, right? But in any case, let me tell you about the powder. I love the packaging on this powder. It has a screw top lid, but then it has a separator, which then opens into a little mesh pocket. I think that's genius because it just keeps it really neat and tidy, and also the mesh is really stretchy, so you can really dip your brush into the powder, and if you flip it upside down, it retains a lot of it in the mesh as well. So you definitely get a nice amount of powder. You get 14 grams of powder here. It lasts 18 months. It's a very nice powder. I did like the way that it applied. I think it is truly translucent. I'm not sure if they have any other shades, but I don't think that they do. It is supposed to be a matte finish, and I would have to say that it did mattify the look of the CC cream. I keep calling it foundation, but it is a CC cream. It did mattify it, so if you have oily skin, you'll probably like this, but even if you have dry skin like I do, I think it's something you'll enjoy as well. I did, of course, apply it with the powder brush, and it's a nice powder brush, but honestly, I now have about 3 brushes just like this one, so I really didn't need to get this brush, and it really looks very similar to the La Mer brush as well, which I may or may not have bought. In any case, it's a nice soft brush. If you don't have one like this already, then you could definitely pick it up from Thrive, but I think that you can find it pretty much anywhere with other brands. Nice brush. I used it for bronzer. It applies well. I used it for the powder as well. Not my favorite, just okay. Next, we do have the bronzer. This is the Rea Bronzer, which is the matte one. And at first I thought it wasn't going to show up, but it does show up really nice on the skin. It picks up really well on a softer brush such as this one. And the shade is really nice. It has a nice matte finish, but it has that kind of tone that looks like you're naturally tanned, and it doesn't pull red or orange or anything like that. It's a really nice neutral tone, and I like that. There is another tone in the bronzers that they have, but I think the other one is not necessarily a matte finish. I did find that it is buildable and it applies really nicely. The compact is really nice. It's very nicely weighted. You do get 9 grams of product in here. It's a magnetic closure. It does have a mirror inside as well. I'm liking the bronzer as well. Then we have the blush that came in an identical compact as the bronzer with the mirror. It's one of those marble type products, and there's definitely highlight in here. I would have to say that it's very similar to like NARS Orgasm and the amount of sheen that it leaves on your cheeks. Not glitter, but sheen. I don't think that it's friendly for textured skin. I was even wearing the Tatcha primer, and I still feel that my skin looks a little bit textured. I love the luminosity of this blush. I think it's more pigmented than NARS Orgasm, and that's why I like it. NARS Orgasm it barely shows up except for the glitter and sheen. And so this one puts down a little bit of pigment as well, and I think that's why I prefer it. I'm really impressed with this. I'm just wearing this blush and absolutely no highlight, with the exception of the stick, which I put on my brows and on my cupid's bow. But other than that, no highlight on my cheekbones. And this, you can see for yourself. I don't have to tell you. So I actually was really impressed with the blush. I could definitely see why Emily Noel likes it so much. Last but not least, we have the highlighting pen. This was purchased outside of the $175 that I spent. This came in my FabFitFun box. And this is really nice. Actually, it's super handy to highlight the inner corner of your eye, or to do your brow bone highlight. I'm wearing it there. To do your cupid's bow. It's just really easy since you could just draw it right on. I do suggest that you blend it in as soon as you apply it though, because it dries relatively quickly, and I don't know why it was getting reviews for it being oily. Supposedly you can also put this in your waterline to brighten your eyes, but I did not try it that way today. Well, I guess these might come in different shades as well, because this one is labeled Stella. This was not one of my choosing, it just came in my box. My groceries are here. I ordered a bunch of health food because I'm trying to diet and anyway. Back to the products at hand. I have to say that I'm really impressed with everything. I do want to mention that absolutely every single package is still labeled Beauty with a Purpose. For every product you purchase, we donate one to a woman in need. And this packaging implies that it's 1 for 1. Like, I purchase one, they donate one. And I think that the company had some sort of issue where they changed the company motto or the company philosophy to just in general donating. giving. So for every purchase that is made, then some amount is donated, but it's not necessarily one for one. And in general, it's still a very good mantra to have, a good business model where you are creating donations all the time. But as a customer, I don't personally feel I'm donating. I just purchased some makeup, but it is kind of pricey. And if you think of the one for one, it kind of makes sense, because if you pay, say, $30 for a bronzer, you're really buying 2 bronzers. I don't know how I feel about that. I know that it was something Jen Loves Reviews talked about, and there is still a charitable aspect to the company as a whole, and so we have to applaud that. Now, in general, the company is vegan, cruelty-free, paraben and sulfate-free, and toxin-free, so it's one of those clean brands as well, which is really nice. It's nice to have products like that. With complexion products, of course, it's going to be really challenging to make sure that you have your correct shade, so my advice is go a little bit lighter, because you can always darken it up a little bit with a bronzer. That being said, the bronzer that I have, as buildable as it is, I don't know if it would be dark enough to show up on someone with much deeper skin than myself. And if you have a much lighter skin tone than myself, then you want to go in with a light hand, because this picks up very quickly on a brush. It's not firmly pressed. It's not firmly pressed at all. It definitely comes up on the brush, so go in lightly with this one. Other than that, I really have to say that my experience with the brand has been positive. My 2 absolute favorite items that I would recommend would be the blush and the sponge. I always thought it was so funny people making such a fuss about this sponge, but I guess I understand. I'm definitely up for placing another order and getting another shade in the foundation. I know, you're sick of hearing it. I'll stop. I have to get my groceries, so thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed my video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up for me. Let me know what are your favorite products from the brand if you had tried other things. I know the mascara gets amazing reviews, but after spending $175, I'm like, let me stop. It's just the first purchase. So yeah, let me know what you think of the mascara if you have it. I know it's one of those tubing mascara, like my favorite MAC mascara. So yeah, what are your favorite products? Leave those in the comment section down below. And if you've had any experience with the brand, I'd also love to know before I place another order. If you have any questions for me on any of these products, I'm going to continue wearing them throughout the day, but also wearing them throughout the month. I will definitely update you in one of my haul update videos or something like that in the very near future. So make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss out when I do upload. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me for a few minutes today. Hopefully you enjoyed. I hope you're doing really, really well, and I look forward to seeing you again really, really soon on my next one. Bye-bye.